If you clicked on this video, that means that you want to know why everything you think you know about Mercury retrograde is wrong. Hi, my name is Osamiri. This is Ile Tarot and Astrology, and on this channel, I make videos about the wonderful science of Jyotish, aka Vedic Astrology, and also tarot readings. So if you're interested in both or either of those things, please like and subscribe below. Okay, so let's get into our topic of discussion here. So I'm making this video because it's important to me to debunk certain popular misconceptions about Mercury retrograde so that you can practice astrology more ethically and more accurately. So let's get into this main topic. So the first misconception that I want to debunk is Mercury retrograde is not special. What do I mean when I say that? So, first and foremost, most planets in astrology go retrograde. Mercury retrograde, for some reason, is the it girl. She's the most popular retrograde. Many people that are not familiar with astrology or don't even believe in astrology will still hear or talk about Mercury retrograde. But most planets go retrograde. So the planets that are capable of going retrograde in astrology include Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, obviously Mercury, and the planet Mars. The sun cannot go retrograde because, of course, the sun is where? In the center of the solar system. So the sun isn't changing the way that it moves, or it isn't appearing to change the way it moves. The moon also does not retrograde in astrology, and the north and south node, or in the Vedic system, we call them Rahu and Ketu respectively, also don't retrograde because technically they're always retrograde. Okay, I can make more videos on that later, right? So most planets in astrology retrograde, so there's no need to freak out. Another thing about Mercury retrograde not being special is the fact that the planet Mercury is the second fastest body in astrology. The fastest planet in astrology, not mathematically, but in astrology is the moon, i.e. the moon moves through all the signs basically every month, right? Around every 28 days. The planet Mercury is the next fastest body that we look at in astrology, which is to say it retrogrades around 3 times a year, right? So even as I'm filming this video, right, at this moment in time, in the year of 2025, shout out to you if you're watching this video in the future, the planet Mercury is on its second retrograde, right? And at the time at which I'm filming this video, and there will be a third Mercury retrograde this year, right? So when I say Mercury retrograde isn't special, I mean, it's a common astrological phenomenon. There's no reason to be hysterical and freak out about it or panic every time it's gonna happen again, right? It's always gonna be another Mercury retrograde, y'all. She's gonna keep doing that. That's what planets do. Now, what exactly is a retrograde so that we have a little bit more clarity on what this phenomenon is and what it means, which will also lead us into our second popular misconception. So a retrograde in astronomy, not astrology, is when like a person is analyzing the sky and the place at which a planet is in its transit, the planet appears to be slowing down, right? It looks like it's slowing down to the point where it almost seems like it's moving backwards, right? So that's really all a retrograde is, right? Based off of the degree that the planet's in, it looks like it's moving backwards. Okay, so this brings us into our second misconception that I really want to like just nip in the bud, y'all. Okay, so second thing, planets are weaker during retrogrades. Okay, now this is a common thing that you hear people that are Western astrologers talk about, or that people believe that practice Western astrology, that a planet is somehow like not functioning as well, or it's not as strong when it's retrograde. In the Vedic system, that is completely false. Planets are, to some astrologers who are Vedic astrologers, even say 3 times stronger when they're retrograde, right? And this is the reason why all of these popular misconceptions, oh, you're gonna have issues with miscommunication, or you're gonna have travel issues, technology issues. That's the reason why people believe that about Mercury retrograde. It's not because Mercury is weak, it's because Mercury is more intense. So you're gonna have more Mercury situations. The domains of Mercury are going to be heightened, right? In this time period, basically Mercury is strong, okay? He's on steroids right now, right? So that's the reason why we're having more of these issues, okay? So popular misconception number 3, barreling straight through here, is that Mercury retrograde, or that like retrogrades are scary, right? That this is like an ominous time period, okay? Now, in order to really fully debunk that, we do have to share a little more information about who is Mercury and really the houses that Mercury lords naturally in astrology, okay? Really important little chunk of video, so sit with me on this, right? So Mercury, right, that name, right, of the planet in English, obviously, I'm an English speaking person, right, is of course the Roman name, right, of the planet, but also a particular, I'd say, being, you know, God, if you will. In Sanskrit, you know, the word would be Deva. Right, so that's actually the Roman name. His Greek name is Hermes. In my culture, you know, in different throughout West Africa, we have multiple names for this entity, including Gerenibo, Eshu, and Elegba. Okay, so what we believe about this being that, you know, in this system is called Mercury is that I'm just gonna call him, I said Elegba for this video. What we understand and believe about Elegba is that he's the keeper of roads and crossroads, and it's understood that he has the keys to different dimensions and parts of the universe, and this is why he is the being that you call upon when you're trying to speak to different divinities or gods, right? So Elegba is also similar to the Greco-Roman interpretation of this being understood to be a trickster, right? So this brings me to his origin story in the Vedic system, right? So in Vedic astrology, Mercury's name is Bud, right? Now Bud is understood to be the son of Tara, right? The savioress. And she is the wife of Brihaspati, right? The planet Jupiter. Now, depending on which version of this story you read, it was an affair or she was sexually assaulted, right? It was a non-consensual encounter. But regardless, as a result of her having some sort of physical encounter with the god of the moon, Soma, Mercury was born, right? Now, Mercury being the product of either sexual assault or an extramarital affair, like I said, depends on the version of the story you read, had to win or earn the good graces of his mother's husband, his stepfather, Brihaspati, Jupiter, right? And through his charm and his cunning and his skillfulness, he was able to earn, you know, the good nature, the good affection of Brihaspati, Jupiter, right? The planet of wisdom. And as a result of that, he was able to learn many secrets, right? Because Mercury is a planet that we also associate with what? Skill, right? Cleverness, cunning, you know? So understanding the Vedic understanding and other interpretations of Mercury helps us understand, I think, a bit more about Mercury retrograde and why it's scary, right? Why people think that Mercury retrograde is scary. So let me link back. It's gonna make sense. I'm gonna bring it all together for you guys, because you might be like, okay, cool myth lesson. What does this have to do with Mercury retrograde being scary? Now, in the Vedic system, Bud rules, right? Naturally, the third house, energies of the third and sixth house. And the sixth house in the Vedic system and Western astrology as well, is a house that deals with enemies, right? Daily obstacles and challenges, sickness and maladies, right? In the Vedic system, the sixth house is understood to be the house that deals with one's paraptala karma, right? One's karmas that are unchangeable, the obstacles and difficulties that you must see through, you must deal with in this life. That house is naturally ruled by Mercury, right? So Mercury then, understanding all of these different interpretations of him, specifically the understanding of Mercury as a trickster, makes a lot of sense, because when do we need to be clever, When do we need to be cunning? When we're dealing with obstacles, when we're dealing with enemies, when we're dealing with adversaries. This is the reason why the planet Mercury is naturally exalted in the sign of Virgo, the energy of the 6th house, because that is when you're gonna be at your sharpest, right? When you're dealing with problems, when you're dealing with obstacles. So Mercury retrograde being seen as scary or dangerous or hard to navigate. No, guys. The point is that we're sort of tapping into this Mercury-like mind of how can I be clever? How can I be skillful? How can I be cunning? When I'm dealing with these parabdala karmas, these negative or rather challenging circumstances that may be brought to the forefront because, well, it's Mercury retrograde, right? So Mercury, as I said, is more intense. You're dealing with stronger, well, challenges because Mercury rules the house of challenges, right? You know, so it doesn't have to be scary, right? That's the reason why I'm saying it needs to be debunked. It's not that it's scary. It's rather that we need to rise to the occasion. We need to deal with these challenges that, you know, in a skillful way. Okay, so last, but certainly not least, number 4, okay? Hanging in there with me. I know we've been steamrolling through this, right? But you know, it's like I said, Mercury's quick. Okay, so this is quick too. Okay, so number 4, right? Popular misconception. Mercury retrograde affects everyone equally. No. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say that's we're tapping that out. Okay, everyone's always like freaking out at my technology, my computer, my email, my lost mail. I can't move. It's Mercury retrograde. My ex is gonna come back. It's Mercury retrograde. No. Listen, guys. Mercury retrograde does not affect everyone the exact same way, and certain people are more affected by Mercury retrograde than others. Now, who's that? As I was previously discussing, people that are ruled by or have strong planetary influence of Mercury. And that would be who? Geminis and Virgo. So if you're a Gemini and a Virgo, yeah, Mercury retrograde, of course, is going to be stronger for you because you're a person that naturally is imbued with, or rather has a lot of karmas around Mercury things, right? So Mercury retrograde may be a bit more challenging or a bit more difficult for you, right? So another thing about this that is important to understand is how Mercury retrograde will affect you specifically, even if you're not a Gemini or a Virgo. So in the case of just any layperson's chart, of course, you're going to want to see what sign Mercury is in during the retrograde, right? So the sign Mercury is in during the retrograde is going to let us know the dignity, or rather the strength of Mercury, and what sorts of karmas or situations we may be dealing with. The next thing that you're gonna want to do is look at where Mercury is sitting in your chart and what sign that house is in that Mercury is sitting in. So say, for example, right now, right, as I'm filming this video, Mercury is in the sign of Cancer. Go to your birth chart and look at what house is in the sign of Cancer. That's where Mercury is going to be transiting for you. So that's the area or the part of your life where you may be seeing some of these mercurial issues, if you will, some of these challenges or obstacles, or whatever's coming up for you during this Mercury retrograde. That's the area of your life where it's going to be happening. So I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that this video cleared up some of these misconceptions for you. If you like my channel and you like my style, as I said, please like, share, subscribe, what have you. And I hope that we cleared up everything that you thought you knew about Mercury retrograde. I'll show y'all. Bye.